We are the keepers of the flame, the sacred order. Let the ceremony begin.
And today, faithful acolytes, we take a look at this. Our ceremonial product today comes courtesy of Roger Damps, the Heat Ambassador over at Burn Your Tongue, with locations all along I-15 in Utah, as well as online at www.burnyourtongueonline.com. We raise our flame to Roger in honor. Burn Your Tongue is an official Temple of Flame and is constantly adding new items to bring you the biggest and best selection found anywhere. So head on over for the best chili head shopping experience the world has to offer. And what this is from the molten mind of Smokin' Ed Curry is the Chocolate Plague. Got a Grim Reaper holding what looks like a pepper here and probably a chocolate bootla, because this is a chocolate bootla hot sauce. And I will just say I'm not super familiar with the chocolate bootla pepper. I don't run across it very often in sauces. And I don't know why that is. It's a super hot that I don't think has gotten a lot of the attention that a lot of the other ones have. I'm not really sure of the reason why. It could be a growing thing. It could be something else. I'm not clear on that. I don't follow that part of things super closely. My interest is more when they're processed into sauces, I guess I would say. And I'm just kind of observing how often I see them. So, and I'm sure it's in some of the other sauces on the blog. And the written review for this, by the way, is on the blog as well. You can follow the link in the description below to go there if you want to see that. But we start with chocolate bootla. We got pepper mash here, which is the peppers and vinegar, pepper powder. Is this got the, so this is basically just a mash with pepper powder. I thought there might have been a concentrate in here, but there's not. It's just a mash. Chocolate bootla pepper powder, which is essentially just ground up peppers and additional vinegar. So this was clotted from here pretty much all the way up, and you can see I've played around with it a little bit. This is oddly a strange sauce, I think, for me. Let's take a look at it here. We do have the sort of chocolate coloration here. It's sort of more of a brown orange, I would say. I think it looks pretty good though. It's a good looking sauce. This was, I believe, the 9 slot in the Hot Ones season that it was in. And of course, in the written review, I've got it pegged as to which season that is exactly. It's not coming to mind right as I'm talking to y'all here, but yeah, I would say this is definitely more of a brownish orange is where I would put this. Very, very pretty sauce. It flows very nicely. It's probably about maybe a medium thick, but like right now I can actually smell the vinegar coming off of it. It's very, very pungent. And we will get into that a little bit more here once we do the old flavor tasting. And let's just kick that off right now. It's so sour. Oh, wow. This is one of the sourest sauces I've had. Most of the time I have this with food. I haven't had it by itself until now. It is so sour. And then there's the back end of it, super hot. Wow, it's sour. Oh. We're just gonna go with chicken strips today. Whew. That's punchy, no mistake, and that's super hot. Wow. Just chicken strips from the store. This doesn't, it's so sour. It tends to overpower things pretty quickly. So I don't necessarily know what to put it on. Oh boy. Oh, it's punchy. Overall, I would say it's probably one of the tamer nines, though, from the shelf. It's so sour. Man. I don't know enough about bootless to know if this is normal or not. If it is, I can see why it's not used that often. This one doesn't have, well, what I like to call the Reaper creep. And Reaper creep is, for me anyway, when you have it, and then a few hours later, it comes creeping back. It's the only super hot that does that for me. Not Apollo, not Pepper X, not Bootla, not Seven Pot, not Ghost, not Scorpions. Only the Reaper. Why is the sauce so sour? I mentioned this in the written review as well, but I'm not a fan of sour sauces, hot sauces. For someone who's not a fan of those, I've sure come across them a lot this year. I mean, flavor-wise, it's okay on the strips. In fact, that's where I would put the flavor overall is just okay. It's just so incredibly sour. It's a little unpleasant to eat this. If you like sour sauces more, I guess, it's probably fine. And it's not just the pungent vinegar I have a problem with. I love Louisiana style cayenne sauce. Love it. It's one of my favorite sauces. I don't find it sour. This is as sour as some of the unripe mango sauces I've had. Okay, well, that was not enjoyable. It's certainly hot. I put this Probably a 4, maybe a 5. Somewhere in there. It's in that range. I think I gave it a 5. There's no mistaking that you're banging on is super hot. It's got a good blaze. It's got a good blaze to it. Unfortunately for me, it doesn't have a good flavor to go with it. It is just sour. Sour, super hot. And I mean, maybe it's a good representative of Bootla. I don't know. It's hard for me to gauge because I don't really have a strong basis of comparison with other Bootla sauces. I might poke around, try to see if I can find some other ones though. Because I think it's kind of an interesting pepper. When I can get some of the flavor of the pepper, just the pepper without some of that sourness, which is admittedly, you're trying to shoot a fist-sized arrow through the eye of a needle to get that to happen. But when I can, the flavor of this is actually pretty solid. I don't know if the peppers are always that sour though. It could just be the sauce. I don't know. It's just the pepper and vinegar and pepper powder. So I would imagine maybe the pepper is that sour. I don't know. The sauce definitely is though. So this is a very, very sour sauce that has, it's certainly not for normies. I can't imagine any of them ever enjoying this because it is immediately hot right out of the gates. It's taking a mouthful of blast furnace. No subtlety. It's very, very punchy out of the gate, and then it's also sour. So some super hot sauces will be punchy, and then you'll get some of the flavor there. And the really good ones taste so good you don't stop. You don't want to stop. You keep going, and you build up a really, really solid inferno. Before you know it, it kind of, you got your ears ringing at everything, but it's so tasty you don't necessarily notice until you're already there. Not the case with this. This one is it's punishing, and it keeps staying punishing to go through it. Just unless you like sour stuff, like I said, this might be your bag if you are a chili head who likes really, really sour things, because that's what this is. Not for me. I don't like sour hot sauces. Pretty well documented history of me and those things not being simpatico. So I guess we'll just leave it there. It's an interesting sauce, but I would say this is another one that I think is a little bit emblematic of sauces on the show, where a lot of sauces on the show, I don't know that they're all always that good of hot sauces. And unfortunately, as much as I like Puckerbutt and as much as I like a lot of the other stuff that Smoking Head does, this is a pretty much near total miss for me. And I guess we'll just leave it there. So there it is, the Puckerbutt Chocolate Plague Hot Sauce. Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.